Well, hello and happy Wednesday. I'm sitting at my desk and boy, isn't it different from this time 7 days ago. It's pouring with rain outside. It's grey, it's gloomy. It's not actually cold, but it's really not very nice. So each Wednesday, I do these lives in an attempt to try and answer the questions that come into me so that everybody gets the answers. What's the point in somebody asking me a question and me just giving that answer to the one person when, in fact, many of the times when we hear a question, we think, oh, I'd like to know that too. So the question that I would like to cover today, or that I'm covering today, is menopause and saggy skin. What is it, Sam, that I can do to prevent my face from looking saggy? Now, as everybody knows here, I hope, my background is a medical background. I'm a nurse. I've been working in the menopause arena for 8 years, but I am not a skincare specialist and I'm not a nutritionist. So I come at this probably from an angle of knowing what I know because I've been doing it for so long, but also pulling in information from other sources. Now, I really wanted to concentrate on the word supplement that the person who asked me this question in my answer. Apart from anything else, it's not going to bore you to tears because I'm not going to talk for hours. So there are different facets, aren't there, of skincare. There's what you can do from within and there's what you can do from outside. And sometime a couple of years ago, I did a long skincare live all about where I'd talked to a dermatologist all about different types of vitamins and things you can use on your skin to help it look better. I will post that again below because there's no point me repeating all of that information when you could go and watch it at a time that suits you if you want to. So what can I do about my saggy skin supplements wise? Why is your skin going saggy? That's the first question. Well, it's that estrogen again, of course, isn't it? So we know that estrogen, which is formed primarily in our ovaries and around our late 40s, early 50s, those estrogen levels start to decline. And the resulting effect of that is that instead of everything being nice and plump and firm, everything becomes a little bit looser all over our body. So interestingly, some people have problems with their gums because their gums start to recede. One of the quotes that I heard, which I talked about in that skin care video, was that the face becomes, or your head becomes a little bit like a table with a tablecloth over it, only suddenly the tablecloth is too big. You've got too much skin. And that happens because the tablecloth has got bigger because your skin has gone slightly saggy. So obviously one of the options is to replace some of the estrogen in the form of HRT. So if that's something that you've chosen to do, I'd be interested to know from you, have you noticed that your skin feels less dry, a little bit more plumped, not only on your face, but particularly all over your body? So there's one answer. You could replace the HRT, but what can we do right from day one? I think, although I live in the UK and many of you watching do, I think it goes without saying that we need to protect our skin from the sun every day, day in. I'm sitting here in my desk working in front of a window. I still need to protect my skin from the sun. So a sunscreen, a minimum of 15, but generally I use 30 all the time. And if you know you're going to be out in the sort of hard sun exposure, then a sunscreen of factor 50 may be even more beneficial for you. So sunscreen is a given. The health of our skin, apart from the menopause, comes from inside. So I'm going to say a very generic term. Look at the food you're eating and think, is it beige or is it rainbow? We get a multitude of vitamins and minerals from having a wide range of foods that are rainbow colours. So particularly the berries and peppers and vegetables, they're packed full of antioxidants, really good for our skin. So taking a broad brush approach, how beige is your food and how much of a change can you bring about to pack more plant foods into your diet? That's not going to show immediately, but over time you will notice that your skin is brighter and that it's not going to stop it sagging, but it's going to make what you've got look and feel a little bit better. But the first thing that I expect anybody that I work with, whether it's on my Move Over Menopause program or on the individual modules, the next one starts in September, is your hydration. How much water are you drinking every day? We are made up largely of water. Our brain needs a lot of water. And unless you're drinking at least 1.5 litres of water, ideally 2 litres of water a day, I can probably say fairly safely you're dehydrated. And so your body will take the water that it's got available and move it to where it needs to go, particularly your brain and your muscles, your tissues, your heart, etc. And those areas that need the water, but that are at the bottom of the pile, if you like, just don't get the hydration. So by making a simple choice of drinking more water during the day and less caffeinated products, again, instantly you're going to have plumper, more hydrated skin. So sunscreen, rainbow foods and water. Now, let's move on to the obvious lifestyle thing that tends to affect our skin. And in perimenopause and menopause, this is a big player here, and that is your sleep. If you don't sleep very well, we tend to look a bit grey. I always used to get terrible dark rings under my eyes. I think my complexion seems to highlight those. And I know that if I haven't slept enough, and certainly if I haven't had enough to drink, those dark rings come back. Now, we know that the lack of estrogen is the thing that is likely to have you waking up in the night. So if your sleep is affected because you've got a lack of estrogen and you're getting hot flushes during the night, then that's going to have a knock-on effect. So what can we do? Okay, we've talked about putting the estrogen back in, but there is a supplement that you can take which helps you sleep better, and that's magnesium. I've talked about magnesium a lot. You can't really take too much magnesium because your body will start to tell you in the form of a very loose stool. So I suggest that you head off to your local independent health food shop and you ask for information about the magnesium supplements they've got. I tend to use magnesium in the form of a cream. I put it on my feet every night. I think it helps me sleep more deeply. So magnesium would be the first supplement that is going to be good and healthy for you across the board, but it's going to be beneficial for your sleep. I also would suggest that everybody takes vitamin D, certainly from around September, October through to March, because we don't tend to get very much vitamin D exposure, certainly in the UK. And so taking a vitamin D supplement is also beneficial for your skin. So of the supplements, certainly magnesium and vitamin D, and I tend to take it all year round anyway, even though I'm outside several times a week, running or doing my daily walking. With regards, still staying on sleep, there is some actual evidence that having a lavender, either lavender drops on your pillow or on your wrists at night, or perhaps a lavender bath shower gel or something that you use at night, there is some evidence that lavender does help you sleep if you like the smell. If you don't like the smell, it's not going to help. But just think about these little tiny things, because put them all together and they start to make a positive difference. I know that there's also a little bit of evidence about chamomile tea that you can take to help you relax at the end of the day, and trying to have a bedroom that is conducive to your sleep will also help. But a little tip I found out only fairly recently, and if there are any of you who are yogis amongst you, you'll be familiar with this, but not for the right reasons. It's not only hot flushes that wake you up at night. Sometimes you wake up thinking, I need the loo. I need to do a wee. Now, we don't always wake up because we need to do a wee. Sometimes we wake up because we've had a hot flush and we think, I'm going to do a wee. But one of the things that you can try is 2 hours before you go to bed, lie down and put your legs up the wall. Now, this is in yoga, this is called legs up the wall pose. It's very relaxing. But if you put your legs up the wall and you wiggle they're not called my wrists, are they? They're called my ankles. If you wiggle your ankles and you stay there for, 5 or 10 minutes or something, Then pop your legs down, go to the toilet, do a wee, don't drink any more. The effect of the fluid flowing back up towards your kidneys, literally from gravity, helps get your kidneys to sort of do a last final wee at night. And over time, this was a female health physiotherapist that I heard this from, an amazing female health educator actually, and she was saying that it's just another little thing that you can try. So it's not going to work immediately, but if legs up the wall 2 hours before bed, do a wee before you go to bed, and you might notice that you stop having to wake up to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. Okay, skincare, I'm just going to say literally cleanser, some kind of toner, a really gentle exfoliator, none of that après scrub that we used to use, because when your estrogen goes down, all the oils start to go from your skin, and if you start using really rough scrubbers, that's actually going to make your skin even drier, but that's in the video that I'll share with you. So cleanser, exfoliator, some kind of toner and a moisturizer, day in, day out, every time in the morning and every time at night, that's a given. Now let's come on to collagen, because that's what you've been wondering whether I will talk about. There is some evidence, some good evidence, that collagen tablets, when taken by somebody who has got a wound, perhaps post-surgery, helps with wound healing. There is interesting evidence at the moment going on to say that collagen supplements, either in the form of a shake or a powder or a tablet, can help with your nails, your hair and your skin. Personally, I still think the jury's out on that. Now, what I do in my life is I make bone broth. So if I've had some kind of chicken, I always boil all the bones. I bung in some garlic and some herbs and some other vegetables. I boil it for 2 days in a slow cooker, and then I use that to make soups, etc, etc, etc. And that's got some collagen in it. We know that because when it's cold, it's solid and jelly-like, and that's the collagen that's come from the bones. Several of my friends have taken collagen supplements and they report really good findings. I just still don't think there's enough evidence to say go out there and buy any type of collagen and expect to look 20 years younger. And I suppose that leaves me finishing off with, why is everything about anti-aging? Why are we not able to embrace the fact that we are aging, and with our age comes wisdom and grit and grace, and that in fact the most important thing for us now is to look as good as we can now, and next year as good as we can next year, rather than trying to turn back the clock. I will finish off by saying there is one other person that I have come across on Instagram, Dr. Natalia. I think her surname is Spearings. I will put the link below. She's a lady who lives in Dubai and lives in the UK. She's a dermatologist. She does surgical procedures, and she's quite out there in the stuff that she talks about. She says any cleanser will do, because if you like a cleanser and you can afford a cleanser, then you will use a cleanser. She's very anti spending bucket loads of money on all sorts of products, but she's very pro skincare. And some of the stuff that she's said has been really quite interesting to listen to. I actually met her when I was out in Dubai with our lovely Priska, and we met her. And so you might glean some information from looking at her. Qualified consultant dermatologist, but some really quite interesting thoughts about stuff. I hope that's been helpful. Please do ping any questions below. Next week's Q&A is about hot flushes and an increase in anxiety, and the two things going together. So I will be here next week talking about that, and I will look forward to answering any questions in advance for that, so that I can cover all the stuff that you really want to know. So water, sunscreen, rainbow foods, lots and lots of sleep positive, sleep hygiene, exfoliate, cleanse, hydrate, toner for your skin, collagen, take with a pinch of salt. I hope that's been helpful, and I'll put the full skincare video that I did some time ago below for you to watch. Bye.